Hey, Paul.
All right. Hey, how's it going?
It's going all right. How was the race?
Oh, it's pretty good. Unfortunately, it was probably like my first iRacing race since I never raced at Chicagoland before, so getting in there in the truck, I'm kind of restarting my iRacing career and the the truck, it was really good. It's just I wasn't used to it in traffic, and I needed a little bit more practice. But all in all, it was fairly decent. I mean, besides me hitting the wall in the backstretch, typing, typing on Instagram, and that Twitter tweet that I posted of Larry Mack doing the weather.
That was you?
Yeah, that was me. I
Yeah, I
just
think I saw that briefly. I didn't get to see who it was, but I haven't watched it yet. But yeah, I saw
yeah,
it across my timeline.
Eric is steep just retweeted that. So I was like, oh man, you got all the guys, all of them. I just keep getting loads and loads of likes on there. So I guess that's what it's like to be popular. But um yeah, it's been a good day.
That's great. Yeah, and you literally just got off, right? Just got off iRacing
Yeah,
that
literally
winner.
just got off. It was a green white checker and surprisingly no one wrecked. So I that's kind of my other hobby other than podcast and diecast and whatnot.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I've got to say, like, it's an honor to be talking to you because I remember you from I mean, gosh, it's got to be going back like 10 years. The Octane Cup series on YouTube.
The green flag is out and we are racing at the Daytona Speedway. Chris Penn gets a great run as they go into turn one.
Oh yeah, a
Yeah,
little
I mean that.
longer than that. I've been the first year I made a stop motion was 2008. I got a I got I saw one of my good friends. His name is Alex Tracy Gold. He had a old channel called APTG 95, and it was us three, like me, Evan Moore, and him. We were just, there used to be YouTube chat rooms that were similar to this, and we just made stop motions on whatever poster board we could find, or somehow talking our parents into buying us some materials to build those tracks.
Yeah, so you're 24 now, right? I think I've
24, yeah.
yeah seen that.
I'm gonna be 25 this year. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So you've been on YouTube literally half your life, I guess.
Yeah, that's really crazy to think about. I wish I didn't delete my old channel, but um I guess my hindsight kind of got a little bit weird to say. 2015's when I deleted Lego NASCAR 88 fan from YouTube, and that was when I first started attending business school, and I was trying to restart my image, and it, I don't think it really did anything except make people say, "Oh, I don't remember this guy." So it's besides the Daytona 500 video that Speed Zone Films uploaded, I don't. I mean, I have the files, but I just don't have them on YouTube.
So I was that's actually good lead in. I was going to ask because I remember from Trucks to Cup with the Lego characters.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know where those files are. They're on a flash drive that is just somewhere in my storage. I was going to redo that series, but with me going back to school during the COVID pandemic, it was and finishing my degree, it was going to be a lot to ask for, and I just moved, so I mean, I have all the trucks, and I make sure to pre-order them all the time on circlebdiecast.com, but um it sucks when they don't get made. But I'm just glad that the Jordan Anderson ones. Jordan's a good friend of mine. Um, his truck made minimum order quantity, so that's a good thing.
yeah, I'm starting to kind of get a little frustrated with how many like Nice Motorsports trucks and Plan B and Circle B trucks were getting. But then I remember like if it weren't for those trucks and the fact that those trucks are going to get made because they're Circle B trucks, how many trucks would actually make MOQ? And then you've got to wonder if Lionel's going to think it's even worth it, because it frustrates me so much whenever I pre-order a truck or any diecast and it doesn't get made. Like I've got my AJ Allmendinger shirt on right now from when he won Atlanta, and I remember his first race win with colleague was 2019 on the Charlotte Roval,
Yeah.
and they offered that one and it didn't hit MOQ, ended up being a DNP, and then they didn't even offer his Atlanta win, and I really wanted his Atlanta win because it was a big deal for him to win on an oval. So that's
Yeah.
just very frustrating.
I'm not sure what the licensing deal that Colleague has right now, because they kind of have just like an exclusive, because that Justin Haley win that just came out, that was exclusive to the Colleague shop.
Yeah. They've got Haley's Talladega win and they've got Jeb Burton's car too. So I'm just, as an Allmendinger fan, I'm over here like, where's, like, he's full time this year, like where's his car?
Well, hopefully he gets some stuff made. I want to see Allmendinger do well. He was kind of starting his NASCAR career at the time when I was just really becoming a NASCAR fan. So to see him do well, it's great. And I can't wait to see Colleague at the road courses later this year. It's we've got a lot of them this year, and I really, it makes me so excited. I mean, some people think it's gimmicky. Some people think I just really like road course racing, since I kind of did it with kart racing. So those twists and those turns and hitting your apex correctly, that's something that I really like to see. That's something that I appreciate. And sometimes it just isn't translated well on broadcast. And like for example, the Daytona road course, before they threw a caution for a rainbow, that was, I really like the Daytona road course, and I really like watching the 24 Hours of Daytona. It's such a unique skill to race on road courses and hit your apex correctly every single lap. And some people made mistakes, and it's interesting to see those drivers that do make the mistakes. And it's a driver that, like Brad Keselowski, he's a cup champion. He shouldn't be making those mistakes, but he did. And that's just the art and the beauty of NASCAR road course racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we've got a lot of great new road courses coming to the schedule this year, and I'm definitely looking forward to them as well. So I guess again, a kind of a good lead in here. You mentioned when we were talking about Allmendinger, because that's right when I got into the sport as well, was 2007. And, it's kind of crazy to think about. He's the only one from that rookie class that's still left, because Reagan and Menard retired a couple years ago. Montoya's off doing other things. And David Rudiman's been retired for quite a few years now. So I guess to bounce off of that, how did what got you into the sport?
Actually, like 2007 is really when I got serious and started watching every race. I think my first diecast was a Cole Trickle City Chevrolet car that my dad got at Big Lots. And I really liked that. And Kmart back then, my dad tells a story all the time. They had these big plastic cars. They were just made out of plastic. And I really wanted this David Green. I don't know where it is. I hope that it's still somewhere, but this giant David Green car, and I cried because I wanted it so bad. And I brought it home. My uncle was flipping through channels. I don't remember. He was like, all right, you got to be involved in a sport. You got to like a sport. And then he's put on baseball nothing. ESPN Classic had some old football on, and I didn't really care for it. But then and the Speed Channel and NASCAR was on, and the first race I can remember watching was the 2001 EA Sports 500, where Bobby Labonte flipped over on the backstretch, and that got me hooked. That got me hooked, and since then, like I can remember 2002 Daytona 500, I think, 2003. I only remember like a few races, like around that time, and uh I was a big Tony Stewart fan. I really liked the Home Depot car, and I also liked at that time I was really a fan of some of the guys that were at the back. I remember 2003 I was Larry Foyt. I was like, I want Larry Foyt to do good, and cuz my mom, there used to be a Harrah's in St. Louis, and she loved going there, and I wanted the Harris car to do well. So uh, just going back and thinking of all those connections that I made, and uh, it really made me appreciate everything about the sport at a young age. And I really wanted to do it, but I kind of had no idea of how to start. So I just played with my diecast cars until I found an avenue with YouTube around 2006, I'd say.
Yeah, well, I know you. I think again, you have in your social media bios that you're a former go kart racer. So was there kind of an idea in your mind that maybe this was a path you wanted to go down, and maybe even become a driver yourself?
It's still in my mind. It's still really in my mind. I mean, I have my two trophies back behind me in my helmet, and um, I kind of like the approach that Dylan Welch has, because he's working in the media and also racing in his times that he doesn't have media obligations, like competing in the Chili Bowl and things like that. So it is in my mind. Um, I kind of got started. So when my mom passed away, um, I I used some insurance money from life insurance money so that I could go racing, and it the rest went to college and things like that. But I at least wanted to get my feet wet, get started, know what I'm doing. And when I first started, I did not have a clue. I didn't know how to maintenance anything. I didn't. Yeah, the Briggs LO206, I would be pulling the what is that called? I see, that's the deal. I would start the engine and it's already started, and I'm still pulling that. So it was evident that I didn't know much, but I love the sport. Even though I came in last, like my first race, I was like, I'm hooked. I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. So I guess you graduated college a couple of years ago, right?
No,
So
I actually just graduated in December of 2020.
okay, that's why I
Yeah,
just graduated as well. Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. I I tried my best. I was like, the world's shutting down. This is an opportunity for me to finish my degree without having to, because I would have had to take in-person classes had the COVID-19 pandemic not happened. So with all the classes being online, that gave me a great opportunity to take all my classes and finish my degree online. I actually, unlike a lot of people, I actually like the online classes. It gave me a lot less anxiety, because I got really bad anxiety inside of a lecture room with 300 plus people. But no, that was a it was a opportunity that I had to take.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to Mizzou. Fun fact: there's another NASCAR driver that went to Mizzou. You may have heard of him, Carl Edwards.
So you're still in Missouri, right?
Yeah, I'm still in Missouri. I'm in St. Louis, not too a little bit, probably 30 minutes away from where the Wallaces are from. Kenny moved back to Missouri, and Ken Schrader, he's also moved back to Missouri. So all the old guys, I hope to run into them one day.
Yeah. So what did you study?
I studied general business. I kind of flip flopped around. I knew that like business management was one of the things I wanted to do, but at the same time, I was like, what am I going to do with that? So I wanted to learn like more than just one principle of business. So marketing and accounting and those things that, you know, you can manage anybody. I mean, you can get management experience at like a you go to like a Target or something, and they have a pretty good like leadership program, but uh, you can't learn all the other things like about marketing and like the 4 P's of marketing and all those things that you wouldn't just learn in an ordinary management class.
Yeah. So what do you want to do with your degree now that you've just graduated?
Well, I'm actually still not sure yet. I'm currently working for a beer distributor in St. Louis, and I'm liking that industry right now. It's got a whole ton of new seltzers that came out, and it's just been interesting to see because the beer industry is pretty much a recession-proof industry. So if anything bad happens, God forbid, I would still be a little bit safe because people love beer, people love alcohol. I mean, it's evident now with with the summer coming and the weather getting hotter. There's more people just grabbing a 30 pack and taking it and drinking with the pals or maybe drinking it themselves. I'm not saying, I'm saying 21 means 21. I'm saying drink responsibly, or as some of the boxes say, celebrate responsibly. But it's all right. I'm fairly biased towards Truly Seltzer. They're sponsoring a 5K event that's happening in famous Forest Park in St. Louis, and I'm actually training for that right now too. So it's pretty good.
Yeah. So what else are you up to now? You've got this job that you've just mentioned, and I guess you're doing iRacing in your spare time. Yeah. So what else are you up to?
Well, I just started actually my own podcast called the Paul Fodde Power Hour. My first episode didn't end up being an hour because, unlike you, I know you've been at this for a while, and you've taken notes and really know the person, know the questions that you want to ask, and I didn't know that, so I kind of did it on a whim, and it didn't pan out the way that I wanted it to. Um, and it didn't capture that magic. I really got inspired by listening to the podcasts on Dirty Mo Media, like Door Bumper Clear and Dale Jr. Download. And I really like that old school feel of the Dale Jr. Download. Even when he gets new guys like Blaney and them on there, and the most recent one with Dick Berger, and that one was awesome. And I just it gave me a new perspective, and that's the thing I'm trying to learn too. um is gaining that other person that might not know as much about that person, and learning that through words. And that's the beauty of podcasts. I just got a few. I've had a few people tell me it was pretty good, and a few people that I didn't know were into podcasts that really liked it, and I'm I'm tickled to death, and that's why I really like doing this, and I'm sure you really like the Ben Schneider show too. And I I just I just really love this podcast thing. It's taken off, and it's gonna be it's a lot better than listening to the stuff on the radio right now.
Yeah, I was the same way. It's funny you mentioned Dirty Mo Media. I really got into Dale Jr.'s show, and I had done a little bit of my friend Chase Strauss invited me on one of his sports shows at the radio outlet at my college. That was student run at the end of my freshman year, and really enjoyed the 2 episodes that I got to do there. started my own racing show my sophomore year, and then my junior year branched out and started doing this show because I'd really gotten into the Dale Jr. Download at that point, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever to be able to bring in somebody new every week and interview them, get to know them a little bit better, and just kind of sit down and have a conversation with them. And it ended up being a lot of fun. And I can tell you from experience, you'll get more comfortable at it. You'll get a better feel for what you want to do. And I remember our first episode, I had my roommate on, and we still only went 35 minutes because I was just kind of didn't know exactly the direction I wanted to go yet. Trying to make it my own and everything. But nowadays I tell people, like, if you want to come on the show, we can go for 20 minutes, we can go for an hour and 20 minutes. Let's just kind of see where the conversation goes, how much we want to talk about, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, that's how I am. I'll either talk your head off, or if not, I'll just stay kind of low key. But no, it's really awesome that you've worked this hard to put this program together. I've noticed it, and it kind of was like, oh well, I just heard of the anchor tool that Spotify has, and that really gave me an opportunity to look at making a podcast and seeing if I could give my own perspective. And hopefully I can have you on there one week. I do have a lot of people that next week I'm having, since I got Anchor from Dirty Mo Media ad read, I was just like, oh, okay, well, Brett Griffin's probably going to make me buy him a pallet of tequila. TJ Majors won't be my first guest. And Freddie Kraft, he's going to make me chug a lot of beers. So Jason's going to be on next week. So it'll be pretty cool. I'm not trying to gloat too much. I mean, this is all a new thing, and I really don't have any idea what I'm doing, but I'm making it look like that I know a little bit, and it's a lot similar to the old stop motions that I edit on Windows Movie Maker, and gradually going up to like Sony Vegas or something like that. It's really cool, and I love that editing part. A lot of people don't, but it's one of those just relaxing things. When you get it right, you're just like, yes, it's so satisfying.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, you're already one step ahead of me with Anchor and Spotify and all that, because I'm still, one of these days I need to just go in and re-download all my shows from my channel and get the channel or get the show up on Spotify. It's just, I've been wanting to do it for a while. I just never actually get around to it because I'm so busy with other things. Right now I'm just editing the video format and putting it on my YouTube channel, which is getting close to the 1,000 subscriber milestone. I've had a couple of videos that kind of hit the algorithm and took off and helped me out there. But yeah, that's on my long list of things to do, is trying to get this show on other platforms.
Yeah, that's I was actually surprised that it wasn't, but I'm glad that you got a good place in YouTube. While like my old account got hacked a couple days ago, it's been it has opened a lot of doors for me. YouTube has just, and don't get me wrong, like, if I really wish I didn't delete that channel, because now I could be, I'd still have that those subscribers that remember my videos, things like that. But I guess I'm trying to rebuild and rekindle that magic that I once had back when Erica Steep was still Double E Dude, and before Black Flags Matter and all them. They've all been really cool and really gracious towards me. I at first I was like, who are these guys? Now I'm just like, well, you guys are awesome and really nice to me. Danny B Talks as well. They've all been really gracious towards me, and I honestly, I couldn't believe that a lot of people think the YouTubers are kind of self-centered, and well, maybe you could say that about a couple, but the ones that I mentioned, they haven't done anything wrong to me. So it's been weird, but it's been cool as well. So can't wait for NASCAR to reopen their garages, but I don't know when that'll happen. But hopefully it's a lot sooner than later.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think, there's, a lot of people think the YouTubers have egos and things like that. And to a certain extent, maybe a couple of them do. But I think generally speaking, there's definitely clearly been a market for content on YouTube. And I don't like that term. I try not to say content creator, because I know some people don't like that term, get put off by it. But I think there's definitely there's a place for both to coexist, because I don't know if you remember this a couple of years ago. Fox Sports, their website went like to all videos. They laid off a bunch of their writers
Oh
and,
yeah, I
and
remember
staff,
that.
and their web traffic dropped dramatically. And they realized maybe that wasn't such a good idea. So they went back on that and brought some of their writers back. And because I think when you're like working your 9 to 5 cubicle job, you don't want to have to open up a video and put your headphones in. If you're taking a short break on work, you just want to open up an article and skim through it quickly and kind of get the major talking points. But then, there's also obviously a market for sitting down and watching somebody's opinion on YouTube on current events going on in the sport, but also the historical stuff. The guys like Slap Shoes and Brock Beard have been really good at putting out that kind of content. So
Oh,
I'm excited to see. I think that there are a lot of good people on the platform right now. I think it's good.
well, funny you mentioned Brock Beard. I tried to get him on the classic Propane 400. I tried my best to get him to be a pit reporter for that race, but it didn't work out. I uploaded the race before he responded to me. So, but I did try to get him to be a pit reporter, and if I did, that would have made it a classic, and I would have never deleted my channel. But yeah, no, I really love the history videos that NASCAR man puts out, and Slap Shoes, his content's pretty good as well. Uh, yeah, I really like sitting down and watching some of the YouTube videos, but I also like driving in my car and maybe multitasking and listening to a podcast about it as well. So there's avenues everywhere, and there's so many ways to really market yourself in a way. I know that there's a lot of people that are popular on Instagram and Facebook and whatnot, and Twitch has also been a really big thing that I'm gonna at least try to do later this year. Just try to make myself visible and marketable for a potential marketing partner to say, hey, I don't want to be labeled an influencer, but I just want to show others the passion that I have for motorsports and the passion that I have for all these different things. And that's the most important thing, is to be proud of what you're proud of.
Yeah, yeah. And you've got one now with Circle B, right?
Yeah, I have that
You want to
promo
plug
code.
that?
Yeah, it's a promo code, and that's been really helpful too. I love shopping at Circle B, and they were my first diecast. I remember when they were still Plan B, and I bought cars from them way back when they sponsored Justin Allgaier's car, I think in 2014. It's crazy how much time's gone past since then, but yeah, it's just been it was fairly easy to get on board with Circle B, but I'm grateful they gave me the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, I want to go back, forgive me if I'm repeating myself here at all, because I know we talked about it briefly at the beginning. But like I said, I've recognized your content for a long time. I keep using that word, even though I just said I don't like it,
Well,
but I can't think
well,
of anything else to say.
well,
Or videos, I guess.
technically, it is content. Yeah,
Yeah.
I I use a camera, I take pictures, I compile them all together, and boom, you have content.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's there's different things that people use them for, and I think back in 2011, Joe Gibbs Racing made their own stop motion. It's not on the internet anymore, sadly, but I remember they thanked me, and I think Boris from Joe Gibbs Racing, he followed me for a while on my old accounts, and it was cool. I I hope to reach that kind
Yeah.
of what Jason's doing at Dirty Mo Media. It's cool seeing that content that's being released.
Yeah. So what inspired you to get started? I mean, I know you mostly from the stop motions, but what inspired you to get started on YouTube?
Well, I briefly mentioned Alex, APTG95. He had a video called the Ice Bucket 500, and he had just like 5 cars, and I just thought it was so cool. And I saw other like YouTube videos of like Lego stop motions, and I just thought they were like the coolest thing ever. And stop motion's been around for like ever, and um I was like, well, I could probably do this. Mind you, I was 12, 13, and I really wasn't the most patient human being in the world. And I kind of rushed a few, but um, looking back, I spent a lot of time just trying to get better and better. And comparing my 2009 race to my 2019 race, I was like, holy cow, the quality, the graphics, and it was all on my pretty much all on my own. And trying to find those camera angles, trying to match it as best I could with like what NBC had. Um, Really just all the stuff on YouTube that already was on there that kind of inspired me to be like, oh, well, maybe I can do this. I never try to, I always try something unless it's food. I don't really like trying new foods, but I'll always try something new.
Yeah. So I guess there's that period where you weren't. I don't know. I guess you said you deleted your account. But why? Like, I remember a couple years ago. I think, like, I heard your name again. Like, it was the Lego NASCAR 88 fan or 98 fan or whatever. I think 98 fan was your alternative channel that just got
Yeah,
hacked, maybe, or something.
yeah, that just got
Yeah.
hacked.
But I think it was Isaac, Wimmer 33 fan, who posted something saying like, you would come back or something like that. So, what inspired you to get back into doing the whole YouTube thing the last couple of years?
Well, I kind of, I'll be honest, like the racing stuff, it wasn't generating as much views or anything like that. And um, I, I knew that I was good at, seemingly good at stop motions. And while I didn't do any in like 2015, I briefly came back in like 2016. And I knew that I had an opportunity to do more. And seeing Adam Johnson with Team Bomber Sports, he had Daryl Mott way back when, I think it was 2016, featured on one of the Fox like previews, promos or something. And Daryl Mott was like, "Look at this NASCAR stop motion," and I was like, "Oh man, I need to do that again." So I created the 2019 Propane 400 and did a whole season of Octon Cup Series, and that 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 was that was really good. But um, I don't know what happened. I'll let me slow down a bit. But I was like, I knew I'm good at this, and I was like, this is my way to get back and say, I appreciate those that have still stuck with me even though my videos are long gone. And I guess it was more of a it wasn't really a farewell tour, but it was more of a thank you.
Do you have plans to do more of them in the future?
I was planning on doing a uh remake of or I was planning on doing the 2020 propane 400, but with moving and all that sort of stuff, I'm planning on buying some like plywood or something and remaking the St. Louis track in more of like the Bear End Speedway. I don't know if I've said that right. The way his craftsmanship is unbelievable. And I was like, holy cow, I need to step my game up on my tracks. And you know, with my girlfriend Emily, we both have a camera, so I was like, oh, maybe I could do one angle of a crash and another angle of a crash. It's all it's all just brainstorming, and I don't know if I'll really have the time for that, but if I do, I'll try and make it happen. I don't have really much space living in an apartment, but I can at least try. So foam board kind of bends a little bit, and it's really it gets when it's humid, it kind of bends a little bit, and it's really hard to make a stop motion with that. So using the wood, I'm sure the wood will stay flat, more flat than Elmer's foam board.
How long does it take you to edit a stop motion?
The 2019 propane 400 took me a month and a half.
Wow, that
Yeah,
long?
it took me a month and a half. One of one of the big things that was doing was my camera battery. I'd have to shoot like 2 laps and my camera battery would die. And then I'd go and edit and then my camera battery would be back and I'd shoot some more 2 laps. Oh, camera battery's dead. And I was working with pretty limited time. I wouldn't go like too late into the night and edit. I'd give myself plenty of time to sleep and eat and do other things. So it wasn't like taking up all of my time. So that's why it probably took as long. It probably would have been less than a month had I just focused on that. But there were just certain things I couldn't say no to. So that's why it was as long as it was.
Yeah, you've definitely got a lot more patience than me because I don't know if it took me a month and a half to put a video together. I think I'd just kind of stall out and it would just kind of fall into oblivion and never get done.
Yeah, that's unfortunately what happened to the first race of the Octon Cup Series 2020 because I did that shootout and I got up to about lap 10 at the on that on the first race and I was working in retail at the time and hours were just crazy and people that were falling ill, falling sick. It was a lot more and it was really stressful, but um, that's kind of why that stopped.
Yeah, I just started working retail since I've been home, having graduated, and it's yeah, definitely it's nice to have some money coming in and some income, but at the same time, it does take a lot of hours out of your week that you could be spending on things like this.
Yeah, no, I that's kind of why I'm glad I'm where I'm at right now. Retail hours are just so sporadic and different from week to week. It's not like kind of a set hours. I mean, I do wake up really early in the morning, but I get off at a decent time and still have time to like be with my family, spend time with my girlfriend and watch NASCAR. That's all I can really ask for.
Yeah, well, and I guess I should ask about iRacing since you just got off of a race there. How long have you been doing that?
Well, I briefly mentioned it. Uh I got on that around 2011, I'd say, with my old account. Uh, my iRating got so low because my laptop couldn't handle the graphics, and um, I was sim racing on NASCAR Racing 2003 season longer than that. Probably 2009, 2010 I started doing that, and uh around 2011 that's when I really started taking it seriously, kind of stopped the stop motion stuff. And uh I mean, I say that I did win like a couple of championships and win a couple of races. And a lot of the guys that raced with me, Chris Overland, Brandon Cattell, Michael Guest, they were or are in the NASCAR Coke series now. Um, so they've got their own deal going on, and I would love to reach that one day. I just got to get really really better at uh iRacing. I'm okay. I'm just not super quick.
Yeah, so I remember when COVID hit and the lockdowns were starting to go into effect. I looked at getting it because I guess they were running a sale because everybody was trapped inside. What else were you gonna do? But I was still trying to finish up the semester online, and it was just a difficult time. Not just for me, but for everybody. It wasn't something that I was able to. If I was going to do it, I wanted to be able to commit to it and really use my subscription and put a lot of hours in. I've got like an Xbox Ferrari wheel
Yeah.
that I guess would be compatible, but I've never gotten into it. It's like how people always get offended when you call it a video game because they say it's a racing simulator because it's so accurate. I guess just kind of tell me as somebody who still doesn't know a lot about the service aside from what you kind of see, just following along mainstream. What's iRacing like? Maybe you have a different perspective as well as a go-kart driver.
Well,
Is it something that you think real drivers could use to better themselves on the track?
well, for some reason, I'm not sure why. Like on the simulators that Toyota and Chevrolet use, they use R factor. But when comparing like some of the things into real life, I would say iRacing helps with like hand-eye coordination. It helps with reflexes. It helps with men your mental game. So like, oh, when do I have to pit? Oh, I need to save my tires. It does a good job with a lot of those things. I would say that it also helps like if you need to save it. I've had a few instances in karting where I've avoided a wreck or I've saved it from spinning. And it's helped me in that aspect. I'm not sure how realistic it is compared to the real thing because I haven't driven anything other than a go-kart, which I will hopefully change this year. And um yeah, that really the mental and hand-eye coordination and just like sensing like when a car is outside of you or uh sensing that.
So do you keep up with I guess you said you've got some old friends that are racing in the Coke series now, and obviously I guess the Pro Invitational was so successful last year that they brought it back for this season, even though we've got real racing going on again. So do you keep up with watching iRacing as well?
I keep up with the pro invitationals. I They're entertaining just because it's just funny when things go a little bit wrong. And I honestly love Clint Boyer in the booth. Um, and the Coke series, I don't keep up with as much. I follow Justin Malello on Twitter. He brings out a lot of good information. He's honestly he's probably the I wouldn't know who to compare him to. Um, he's got to be like the Bob Pockrass of the esports world. Um, he just has so much information that about esports and NASCAR and iRacing that you just couldn't get anywhere else. So I follow it through Justin Malello, his tweets.
Yeah, I know that was fun for me just as a fan, to be able to have something to watch last year during the lockdown. And I guess it's different in, and again, this is a term that not everybody likes, but when you say our sport, like motor racing, you can actually get in an actual simulator with a wheel and pedals, and it's kind of like you're doing the real thing. Whereas the football fans have Madden, and I guess they do some Madden invitationals and stuff, and like NBA 2K, but there's not nearly as much overlap there as there is with iRacing.
Yeah, no, I think for anyone that like really wants to try and see if they're all right at iRacing, I think it's good. And I mean, it's something like if you don't want to spend the thousands of dollars it takes to race a real car, then for sure it's not that expensive to have iRacing. And well, besides like the investment of getting a wheel and a good PC that can handle it, other than that, it's not that bad. And I mean, uh, with a good PC, you can do pretty much anything. So it's worth it. It's worth its investment.
Do you play other racing games as well?
Sometimes I do some NASCAR Heat, but other than that, I don't really. I guess I don't play as many racing games as I did back in when I was like 15 or 16. Kind of just priorities somewhat
Oh,
changed, and just not really into it as much as I was. I mean, I had R Factor and all those games, and well, games. I hope I don't piss somebody off saying that, but uh yeah, I had all those back in the day, and they were fun. I I loved them, and I just hope somebody else out there is. I know Noah Sweet still appreciates NASCAR 2003 and those old Papyrus games. That game is based off the iRacing sim, so um, well, the iRacing sim's based off that. Let's put it that way. So.
sure. Yeah, I was just thinking the other day, like I hopped on I play a lot of the F1 games, and
Oh
like
yeah.
it had been like 2 months since I'd sat down and played them, just because I've been so busy now working since I've been home. But yeah, I definitely I'd say the F1 games are probably my favorite series. I don't know. I guess I should ask you, is somebody who does both, like if iRacing is like a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you place NASCAR Heat?
NASCAR Heat, I'd I'd still give it like a 6.5, 7, just because I have fun on it. I mean, it, it it's not like the EA games, but at the same time, with the budget that they have, um and the amount of effort, like if they had the budget that EA Sports had, I mean, I wouldn't give them as high as a rating, but they really don't. So and working off old an old game, NASCAR Heat, that's just it's still fun. I love the championship modes and all those things on there. So I
Yeah.
I don't have anything to really. If I was going to be nitpicky, I wouldn't enjoy it. So I try not to be.
Yeah, I guess you've got to have the attitude that you're not playing iRacing,
Yeah,
doing it.
yeah,
But
that
I remember just being like, I tried, like every so often I'll go back and play Heat Evolution, and I'll think to myself, like, how did I play this almost every day for almost a year? Because it's
well,
just
it's just it's fun when you're. I mean, even if it isn't realistic, I mean, I had so much fun playing the old EA Sports NASCAR games, and those weren't the most realistic things out there. But
yeah,
I PlayStation 2 way back when, NASCAR Total Team Control, when you'd switch to a different car and those little features, or unlock the Walmart car, those little things, they're just cool. I like the career mode on NASCAR Heat 5, and it, I I'll probably buy the new game if they come out with a new one. So
Yeah,
uh,
I'm hoping the new game's going to be a step up, and it sounds like I guess it's on a new engine again. Like I'm not the most tech savvy person, so I don't know as much about game development and everything. So, but I think they're really it's kind of like going to be a new era. I don't think the game's going to be called NASCAR Heat 6, right?
I'm not too sure. I do know the guy who designs the paint schemes, Elliot Henderson. He sponsored me for a couple of years, and he's a really good dude. I know he really designs really well, and you know, even if like the game isn't as like fun, I I still have fun like scrolling through and looking at the paint schemes and seeing how cool they are. That's something that I really like too. So
Yeah, I'll say this about NASCAR Heat. I think the best thing about it is just the fact that you've got virtually every full-time driver in each of the top three series, which is something that I think by the time EA got to NASCAR '09, I think there were like only four real truck drivers in the game, and the
oh
rest are all
yeah,
fantasy
yeah.
drivers. So that's awesome that you get like, especially for the people that have favorite drivers that maybe aren't in the Cup Series yet, or something like that, or a veteran like you can race as Matt Crafton or Johnny Sauter now, and have a full truck series field. That's one major positive about the Heat games that I've appreciated.
Yeah, I really like racing is like the Rick Ware cars, or like even the downloadable content. Like you can get like Ryan Vargas, his TikTok car. Um, that's just really cool to me that they were able to get all those teams on there, because when EA had it, you only had like the Cup affiliated teams. And that's boring. You don't really want to deal with that. So uh, having all these other different cars, it's really cool, which is one reason why I really like these games now, because you could win a race with Rick Ware or someone like that. So um, that's one reason why I like it.
Yeah, so I guess as we're it looks like we're coming up on almost an hour here. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about just what's been going on in the racing world this year. I see you've got an IndyCar jersey on. Who is that?
Oh
Of
yeah, yeah. This is Takuma Sato.
course. Yeah,
I
nice.
I'm a really big Takuma Sato supporter. It's always nice to see somebody like, for me, I embrace Bubba Wallace, because somebody that looks like Bubba Wallace is going to watch the race and be like, oh hell yeah, somebody that looks like me is doing really well. And that's how I felt about Takuma Sato and um, Kyle Larson. um, Racing this year is going to be so much fun. I can't wait to see IndyCar 2. The rookie class this year: Roman Grosjean, Jimmy Johnson, Scott McLaughlin. I'm interested to see how Rick Ware's IndyCar program does with Roman Grosjean, Pietro Fittipaldi, and I think I think Cody Ware is going to be racing. I used to be good friends with Cody. Unfortunately, things just didn't work out. But yeah, I wish him the best. I think he's pretty much running the Indy 500, because Garrett Smithley's entered in the 51. So I'm excited to see how their IndyCar program does. Dale Coyne Racing, they've got good equipment, and they're no slouches. So I'm just excited to see IndyCar this year. It's really fun to watch, and it was a blast to watch at Gateway last year. I'm still a bucket list, still trying to go to the 500 one of these days.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm very excited about the rookie class. It's just I guess the big three is a term I think gets kind of overused, but we really do have three incredible names coming to the series from three different disciplines. So it's going to be exciting to see how they do. And yeah, and like you said, Rick Ware, I know they're kind of, they get a lot of jokes thrown their way in the Cup Series, which I think is unfortunate because they're doing what they can with the limited funding that they've got. But yeah, I
Oh
think I
yeah.
just saw this week James Davison is saying it's not looking like he's going to be back this year because he's going to be more focused on the NASCAR side of things. So it does look like I don't know for sure where they are, but sounds like Cody Ware is going to be doing some IndyCar stuff this year too. So
Yeah,
it'll be exciting to follow that.
I was gonna say, is it like Rick Ware brought James Davidson? Like James Davidson, he's raced pretty much everything, and the fact that they brought him into the sport, it's a good look for the sport. And just having, I really like going on Racing Reference back in like 2013. You see the different flags by Montoya and Ambrose, and the road courses. They'd have Canadians and all sorts of different people in the series, and that's something that I know NASCAR is an all American, pretty much all American sport, but I like seeing those guys that are like, all right, let me try, and the most talented ones, they did really well, like Ron Fellows and all them, and I I I just like to see the parity, if you will.
Sure, yeah. Well, I think it's very good for the sport when those guys come over. That's why I kind of wish Fernando Alonso would come over. I know he did the seat swap with Jimmy, but like I think when he came over to run Indy in 2017, I think the 500s ratings in Spain were up like 900% or something crazy like that.
Yeah, I could only imagine if somebody like Daniel Ricciardo or Lando Norris, they came over to the States and raced in NASCAR, IndyCar, it would be a international phenomenon. I would really love to see Lewis Hamilton try his hand at stock cars. And I don't know. Formula One is just such a different world from NASCAR. And NASCAR is such a different world from IndyCar. None of it's the same. Like you just ask Elijah Burke, because he worked for both IndyCar and NASCAR on the Chip Ganassi side. It's just a whole different world, and it's really cool to.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate, that Montoya in particular. Everybody when you think of Montoya in NASCAR, a lot of people just think of the jet dryer, and that it's just totally not fair, to people that know who he is from everything he's done. I mean, he's one of, I think, the most criminally underrated race car drivers, certainly of our generation, maybe even talking in the whole history of the sport. What he's
He's
been able to accomplish is amazing. And I know he never won on an oval. He probably should have a couple of times. If he doesn't speed on pit road at the Brickyard in '09 and a couple other races that got away, but just the fact that he was able to come over and do as well as he did, um, I think just speaks volumes to his talent as a race car driver. Because a lot of times I think, and it works both ways. NASCAR fans kind of get up on their high horse and think that their series is the best, and F1 fans always say that the F1 drivers could run circles around the NASCAR drivers because they're the best drivers in the world. And Kimi Räikkönen came over here, and he only did a couple of races, didn't really get a chance to get up to speed and get used to it. But he got in a Kyle Busch truck and finished, I think it was 15th. It's different. The cars, they have four tires and a steering wheel, and that's basically where the similarities end.
Yeah, no, it it is cool to see that. And people forget Montoya's best season, 2009. Um,
Yeah,
he was a championship contender up until about what, Charlotte. So
yeah. Actually,
it
just that's my most recent NASCAR video I did on my channel, was talking about that season. Because I think really when you look back at it, like yeah, I mean, if things just go a little bit differently, obviously Jimmy and Mark were on a whole nother level that year, but he really did, and that was only his third year. It would be like Sebastian Vettel comes over and, by 2024, he's competing for a NASCAR Cup title. I wish I had been like, it took me longer to get into Formula One. Like, I wish I had been into that, like, you know, right around the time I was getting into NASCAR, because then I would have, like, Montoya would have, meant more to me than just like, he's another guy that I've got to learn his name and like who he is in this series. Like, I had no idea what his background was other than he was an open wheel guy. But I think that's part of why I'm so excited for the IndyCar season. I think it's important, for race fans, if you want to see the sport as a whole continue to grow, you've got to have some drivers that cross over and try different disciplines. Jimmy's at the end of his NASCAR career now, but he's not done. He's going over to try something new, and what Fernando Alonso's been doing the last couple of years, trying a little bit of everything. It's really special to see that.
Yeah, I really like seeing that. I will say back in 2006, 2007, when Montoya first came to NASCAR, it actually was pretty important because one of my best friends back then, he was Colombian, and seeing a native Colombian in a race and he's pretty much, at least to my knowledge, he's a racing hero in Colombia. He didn't come from much, I don't think, and yeah, he's just super talented. He's kind of like a Robbie Gordon. Nobody appreciated Robbie Gordon. He was a little rough on the edges, but man, if he just stayed focused and stayed 100%, didn't lose his temper with somebody, he was a factor.
Yeah, well, that's why I became a Rossi fan. Because right when I got into Formula One, right around 2014, 2015, when Mercedes were starting their run of dominance, which they're still on. Although I don't know, maybe people are saying this year Red Bull might start taking the fight to them on a regular basis. But I think it was cool to me as an American to see Rossi finally break through and get to do the 5 races he did with Manor, even if he was in the back marker worst car in the grid. And just a couple more cars had fallen out of the race at Austin. He would have finished in the points there. And of course now he's found a home in IndyCar, which I think is great. He's, I think, easily one of the most popular drivers in the series right now. But yeah, it did kind of hurt as an F1 fan to lose him and lose like I say our is like our country, America's best hope at an F1 driver. That's why I became up until recently a fan of the Haas team, and Gene
Right.
Haas bringing his name over to the sport and starting his own team. But now I think it's just, I mean, I talked a little bit about this on our last show with Kobe. It to me is no longer America's team; it's Russia's team presented by America, if anything, because
Yeah.
you know
Yeah,
I,
well, I mean, Haas, I'm still a fan of Haas. It's like Stuart Haas. I mean,
yeah.
I want to see Mick Schumacher do well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Like I love Mick. I'm so excited to, looking back now, like at everything that's happened with Haas the last few months, and especially with Mazepin coming on, and that I think it's almost probably lining up for his dad to, if not buy the team outright, at least I know he's already putting a bunch of money into the sponsorship for his son. But I was so excited when Haas announced Mick was coming to the team, and I'd love to see him do well this year, but it's just ever since the Rich Energy saga, the team just hasn't been. They looked so good in 18. They probably could have finished 4th. If things just had gone a little bit differently, and they just last couple of years just haven't had it.
yeah, well, maybe they'll come back a little bit with some extra funding. You never know. I'm really pulling for Yuki Tsunoda to do well, and I I I mean, I don't I used to watch the races back, like wake up at like 3 a.m. to watch them, and but I unfortunately don't have that time anymore like I used to. So um, I think the last F1 race I watched, Kimi Räikkönen won. It was like the season opener, I think. That was one that I watched flag to flag. And I stayed up till 5 a.m. to watch that. So
That was probably Australia, right?
Yeah,
Right.
it was. Yeah,
I was thinking you were going to say Austin a couple of years ago, when he got his win with Ferrari, but it sounds like it's been much longer than that.
Yeah, it's been a little bit longer. Of course, I love Kimi and think he's awesome, but yeah, I haven't kept up with Formula One as much as but I still, like I still keep up with like just the tweets on Twitter and things like that. It's amazing how much information you can get from Twitter. So
Yeah, well, I think Drive to Survive has done a lot, for growing the sport here. Yeah, I can think of a lot of NASCAR fans that only have gotten into it the last couple of years because they saw the Netflix series or something like that.
well, we did have NASCAR Drivers 360. That was awesome.
Yeah, yeah, but I think like it'd be good for NASCAR to get something like that again. And I guess we have the crew with Kevin James, which I still haven't sat down and watched.
People thought it was going to be bad just because it was a sitcom, and we're not really in the sitcom world anymore. But I mean, the first couple episodes, it was I was a critic of it, but it had a good storyline, and I followed along with it, and ended pretty well. So I hope they get re-upped for a season 2. I honestly liked it.
Yeah, I think it's gotten very mixed reviews, and I'm sure because I'm gonna sit down and watch it eventually. I'm sure I'm guessing I'm probably gonna come away with it by saying it wasn't as good as the people that enjoyed it said it was, but it wasn't as terrible as its detractors said it was either.
That's probably where that's the majority of the people. I liked it. I liked the actors in it, and I thought they were awesome.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. I always loved when every few years Kevin James would be the grand marshal and he'd give the starting command and bring a lot of energy to that.
I just got 3 things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Right. Yeah, that was awesome. Oh crap. Sorry, my wheel fell onto there, but no, I really liked the time we spent on here. It's really been a lot of fun, and I hope I'm invited for another show soon. So I still have we probably didn't go through all the talking points that you wanted. So I'm always down to do another show with you if possible.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it sounds like you got to head out. But I've thank you for coming on. I know you it's kind of crazy to me. Like I've started this since even I think like I was 7 or 8 episodes in, and already like people were wanting to come on the show. Like they said like, "Hey man, I'd love to be on your podcast sometime." And that's a humbling feeling to me. Like it makes me feel good. Like people are into what we're doing and they're following along and they want to be a part of it. And I couldn't ask for anything more than that. So I appreciate you reaching out to me and coming on here tonight and telling your story. And yeah, you'll look further into the season. I'd love to have you back, if it works out and we've got more stuff to talk about and catch up on, because I've really enjoyed this. So thank you for that.
All right. Well, thank you, Ben, for having me on. I really appreciate it. And hope you have a good night. And to everybody, thanks for watching. And yeah, I'm can't wait to come on again.
Sounds good. You have anything you want to plug last minute?
I think I already did. So
yeah.
I'm not gonna be overzealous about it.
All right. Well, let me know. Yeah, anytime. I'd love to come on your show as well. So let's see if we can make that happen.
All right, man. Well, you take care. You have a good night.
Thank you. You too. Take care.